Welcome to Reality with Kiki. I'm your host, Kiki, and on this channel, we discuss reality TV, celebrity gossip, and viral topics. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you like our content. You can also follow us on our Facebook page. A link will be in the description box below, and we also have it linked in our bio. All right, so Love and Hip Hop Miami. So we start this episode off at Miami's swim week, and Princess is walking in a show. So Ray J invites Ace and Sheila, Nori and Neri. So they're kind of just showing up, for support for her. And Nori, there's a bar there, and he's just like, I'm not going to drink, but he was just interested in what type of alcohol they have. So he's trying to keep his word about not drinking so that he can show Neri that he's still very much interested in having another baby. So then we move on to Amara, who is currently filming a video for one of her new songs, and Bobby shows up. She invites him, and Bobby with his fashions show up on the screen, honey. And she tells Bobby that she is pregnant. She's excited. He's excited. And I'm like, she telling everybody, but she still ain't tell her mama yet. And I want to know what mama got to say. I also wonder if she told her boyfriend yet. And I would like to know his reaction. Just because he seems very stubborn, I wonder how supportive he would be, especially like she would probably most likely have the baby in the US. Like, is he going to come over and be supportive, or he is staying in DR and doesn't really care? Okay, so next we have a quick scene with A. Sheila, Ray J, and Princess. Ray and Princess are talking about their same old issues. Ray do whatever he want. He be out partying with other women, doing all types of nonsense. Princess still stays, but she's going to complain about it. They try to give her some Zen advice, and it is what it is. Whatever. So we move on to Trina, who is prepping for her verses against Eve. Management still don't have it together. There's still an issue because nobody has reached out to Trick again to let him know about this so that he can be there to perform, because we know there's no Trina without Trick. And CEO was like, I would expect her to say something to him because she sits next to him every morning on their radio show. And I'm just like, that is not her job. Why didn't you make sure so that you can give him the correct call time? Like, regardless, you should be calling him and letting him know Trina's going to be performing at Versus. We need you at this time so that you can perform with her. We know some of her biggest hits are with him. So why wouldn't he be there? Why wouldn't you make sure that he's there? So they are sitting down. They're going over her playlist a few days before the Versus, which I'm trying to figure out. Why wasn't this already figured out? Y'all been knew she was doing the Versus. Y'all all should have sat down and came to an agreement on what songs were going to be played, period. This last minute stuff just adds extra stress. This girl just passed out from being stressed and overheated and overworked. Why aren't the proper procedures being taken to make sure that stuff is getting done early, to make sure nothing is last minute. And I don't understand why between two managers can't y'all get organized. And maybe Trina needs an official assistant so that they can help her organize, but she needs some organization on her team. Like, this is all over the place. And when you are unorganized and late all the time, you will be stressed out. All right, so this is where we get to the juicy part, honey. So Marlon decides that he wants to speak his truth. He wants to tell it all, and he's going to tell the truth, finally. So after all of that denying and she's lying, you don't have any proof, Gael is lying, the side chick's lying, all these people lying, he admits to cheating on Flo. And his plan to tell her, in my opinion, doesn't make sense. And I don't know why he thinks that that would go over well with anybody. So he decides to have a sit down with the side chick. And he tells her, you know, you shouldn't have told Gael. And she's like, oh, Gael, I've known Gael for over 15 years. I told her immediately I was going to tell her. And I'm like, if you knew her for over 15 years, then you knew that this man was married to her sister. And I'm sure you knew Florence as well. So then she goes on to say how her integrity is important to her. Like, girl, please stop. Because you are not a victim in this situation either. Like I said, your friend's sister husband, you knew their connection and you still chose to mess around with this man. And now you want to try to play victim? No. You can miss me with all of that. So she goes on to say that she told Gael the night that it happened. And she's acting like she is regretful, but she's not saying it. And then she proceeds to say how Marlon is still texting her. He even tried to book a massage before they met up today. So him putting on this front like, I want to be my wife, like this has to end, is BS because you still trying to get with me. So she's like, I'm going to call Flo myself. I'm going to call her. And as she tried to call her, he snatches her phone away from her and she gets upset. She's like, give me my phone, and she storms out. So he's trying to get ahead of it. So before she could even call him, because he don't know what she's going to say, he calls Flo as she's about to go into the studio with Ray because they're supposed to be recording a song. He calls her and he's like, you know, some of the things that Gael was saying actually are true. Like, I did cheat on you. And it's just like, he tried to come to her like, oh, I'm just laying out all my sins, but I'm sorry and please forgive me. And she's like, you know, why would you tell me this as I'm about to go record? Like, this is going to mess with my head. I feel like you're doing this on purpose. She also was just like, you know, you kept denying it and I defended you. And she's like, a part of me mentally prepared for this, but I'm just like, you shouldn't have been defending him because he has a history of cheating on you, right? That's one. But two, if you believed him, why would you have to mentally prepare yourself? I knew, like, from the way that he was denying what happened, I knew that he was lying. I already broke that down. So I'm not defending somebody who has a history of doing exactly what somebody is telling you that they're doing. Like, all right, so CO shows up to Trick's restaurant. Now, quick sidebar. So remember when he got on the radio and was like, Beyonce can't sing, and everybody was going crazy, and they started putting all these bad reviews about his restaurant online. But some people were saying, like, people who actually ate there was saying, The food was good. If you've been there, let me know about the restaurant down in the comments. Anywho, CO shows up to talk with Trick about the verses because Trick's so petty and childish. He not answering nobody phone calls because now he knows that the verses is happening and nobody reached out to him. So he won't return any phone calls, and they're having a conversation. CO is giving a lackluster plead for Trick to show up to the verses. Trick is like, nope, I'm not coming. And he's like, somebody should have told me, like Trina should have told me, like I'm your brother. You should have said something to me. You should be inviting me personally. And CO's like, yeah. And it's just like, no, you need to take partial responsibility and accountability for that. Like, that's y'all job. Trina got so much going on. Like, she is still dealing with the passing of her mother. She just passed out in the elevator. Like, she got a lot of stuff on her mind. This girl is running ragged. Like, why would you put that responsibility solely on her? At this point, it just feels like she's managing herself at this point. Anyway, we get to the session with Flo and Ray. And Ray is just like, what's going on? You don't look too happy. What's going on? She's just like, just some things going on at home in my personal life with my husband. It's all right. But he keep pressing her like, what's going on? I don't know. You just don't seem the same. I don't know. And trying to keep asking her, like, what's going on? Just tell me. So she finally tells him what's going on and about the cheating and everything like that. And he's just like, I think that we should do this another time. You are not at your best and I want you at your best. We should just reschedule. Then this fool gonna go into his confessional and be like, I don't know why she was telling me all of this stuff because I'm not Dr. Phil. She told you because you asked repeatedly. She was trying to be professional and move forward, but you kept asking her. Anyway, she's like, you know what? You're right. I'm going to go home. We're going to come back. We're going to come back better than ever. We're going to get this thing done. So when she leaves there, she's going to find Marlon because he just called me and told me that he cheated on me. I'm going to go confront him. So she finds him at the restaurant or whatever. They're having a conversation outside of the restaurant. He's like, yeah, I just wanted to get this off my chest because I want us to live our happily ever after. And I'm like, hold on. Because you have cheated before. Flo said that. So why is it now this is going to be the last time and y'all finally going to live y'all happily ever after? Like, what's the difference now? So Flo is like, why would you call me when you knew I was going into my session? You messed me up and I feel like you did that on purpose. He is like, well, I just thought it was the right time. Like, I didn't want to tell you before because, you had the grand opening and you had this, and you had that. And she's just like, you embarrassed me. And I'm trying to figure out, like, why are you embarrassed now versus before? So, like, your sister told you, the side chick told you, your other sister told you. Everybody was telling you what he was doing. And nothing was ever the truth. I guess it's not the truth for you unless he tells you or you see it with your own eyes. Now, I'm not understanding why you are just so flustered at this point because you could have dealt with it and nipped this in the bud a long time ago. But she was flying off she started flying off the handle, like hitting him. She hit the cup out his hand. She pushing him. Security had to come separate them because she is just like fed up. She's like, I'm done. Like, I don't want to be in this relationship anymore. So she's saying that, child, but we'll see because she seemed like the type to stick beside him. All right, so we end this episode kind of with a bang. Amara is planning to tell her mom that she's pregnant. And her and her dramatics. Her mom is in the kitchen making something to eat, and Amara's like, "Oh yeah, I'm hungry too, but I didn't want something too heavy on my stomach." And she starts rubbing her stomach, and I'm like, "Girl, you are 2 seconds pregnant. Please relax." So anyway, they go and sit down, and mom is like, your father told me something, and I'm not sure whether I'm to believe him or not. And she was like, "Well, what is it? What did he tell you?" And she said, "He told me that you might be pregnant." And she was like, "Well, I am." And there's a slight pause. And she's like, "Well, are you upset?" And she was like, "Well, of course. Like you still have your career that might be put on pause or ruined because of a pregnancy. You don't have a stable partner, and this, that, and the third." So I think for mom, she's kind of thinking about her own personal experience as a single mom raising Amara alone, and she doesn't want that for her daughter. But like she said, I already raised you, so there's nothing I can tell you. And she was like, "You couldn't even consult. You didn't even consult me." And I thought that was funny. I'm like, at what point in the process did you want her to consult you, mom? But Amara is grown. Like she's grown. So she's gonna make whatever decision she think is best for herself, and you just gotta roll with it. But we get to see more of that reaction next week. You guys let me know down in the comments what you thought about this episode, and I will talk to you next time.